Good day doodlers, welcome to Draw Cartoons. Today we're going to learn how to draw the Joker from the film coming out October later this year. Make sure you watch the whole video and let me know who you'd like me to draw next in the comments. Now let's begin the tutorial. You're going to need a pencil, paper, an eraser and a Sharpie to go over your sketch with. Let's go! Let's get started. But first, if you want to learn to draw the fast and easy way, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. Let's begin. So with your pencil handy, let's start by drawing a tall circle where we want the head to be. So lots of small strokes, build up that shape and get that kind of egg shape going on. And then once you've drawn that, cut it straight down the middle and carry on until you're about 2.5 heads in height in total. Draw a line across the very bottom of that line that you just drew. That's going to be the floor, that's where our character is standing. And then this line, we're going to cut it in half right across here. That's going to be the waist, that's the middle of our character. Once you've drawn that, just draw faintly, because you're going to erase all these guidelines later, right up to the head to form just kind of like a box shape. And now we'll form the shape of the legs going down from this hip. We'll come down here, maybe head inwards a little bit as we reach the feet, and then just draw a small shape that goes out and then drops down at the end. That's going to be the edge of the feet where the toes are. So right now we're just kind of building in the basic shapes of our character. Let's draw in one arm here. When you get to about here, draw a cross for the sleeve and back up to the armpit. Okay, I'll just show you that again on the other side. So come down from the shoulder, give it a slight curve, and then cut across for the wrist, the end of the sleeve, and then come up to the armpit. Now I'll quickly show you how to draw the hands for this character. I think a good way to draw them is open and almost like he's going ta-da, because he is kind of a clown, isn't he? So we'll start here, we'll draw gently a shape that comes out, wraps round like that, and then we'll stop there, then add a small kind of curve on the inside of the palm. That's the thumb, and this is where the palm is going to be. So carrying on from there, let's draw a shape that comes out and goes back in just like the thumb did. Once we've drawn that one, we're going to do it again next to it, once more, on the end there, and we get nice cartoony 3-finger hand, and then just bring that back down to the sleeve. Now I'm just going to show that again on the other side. So we'll come out, wrap it around, stop about here, and then a small curve for the palm. Starting again more or less where that curve and the thumb meet, we're going to come down and curve around, back in a little bit, and then 2 more of those kind of sausage shapes going on. So 2 and 3. And when you've drawn that last one, just bring it back to the wrist. And I'd actually say we've got one of the more difficult things done already. We've got those, pardon me, those hands drawn straight away, so we can kind of dive into the details now. So let's go ahead and draw the face. So let's cut the head in half again, right through the middle this time. And gently, again, you're going to erase these lines later. It's just to kind of give us an impression of where to draw. And then just inside these quadrants, we're going to draw a line that slants a little bit like this. Almost at the end of this line, we're going to draw a line that curves down through our guideline, and then another one that goes pretty much straight across and ends there. I'll just show you that again on the other side. So coming down through the guideline, and then just head it off with a horizontal line there. On the inside of each eye, let's make sure the lines meet up. Just some lines there, making sure the inside of the eye is covered. And now we'll draw the actual pupils of the eye. So I'm going to draw a line more or less in the center here, and then another line coming back up just to the right of that one. And inside, I'm going to draw a small black dot. I'm going to add a curve right at the top of this line here. Might be hard to see with the guidelines going on, but that there, that's all I drew, and it's just a bit of light reflecting off the top of the eye. I'll just show you that again on the other side. So come down near the inside of the eye, go up near the middle, black dot in the middle, right in the center of the eye we just drew, and then a curve at the top. We're going to leave that white. If you color this in, leave that white, because that's where the light's kind of bouncing off the eye and making it shine, if you can kind of see that. So we're going to draw a red, kind of an odd irregular shape for the nose. You can make it perfectly round if you want, he is a clown after all. And then underneath that, I'm going to do a very sly kind of smile. So to do that, it's pretty much a line that goes from left to right, but at the very, very edges, it just kind of slopes up a little bit. Do you see that? Okay, so now we've got those features in, we can actually add the makeup on now. So let's start with the eyes. He's got a triangle just dipping up over this eye, like that. Again on the other side. He might be crazy, but he can definitely do his makeup symmetrically. And then there's another spike under that eye, and then one that goes down under that eye. It's quite subtle, but I've put some curves in here just to kind of give the impression that the face is curved. Try not to draw it too flat. And now we're going to add some smile lipstick going on. So a big curve that goes over the mouth like that. And then I'm going to start again here. I'm going to come down, flatten it off a little bit at the bottom where the bottom lip is, and come back up to this point here. Make sure that meets up nicely. Now he's got some painted on red eyebrows that are kind of like sideways drips. So we'll just do that now. Make sure we've got a point on this side, the outer edge, and it's big and thick on that side. So again, just show you that again on this side. Start from the outside, curve over and around, and then back to the edge of the head, pointing towards the edge of the head. Now how about that hair? The hair is actually quite tricky, so I've got a trick for you here. We'll start here. I'm just going to draw a line that just goes straight across to the other side, just like that. Once we've drawn that, we can just kind of follow this down, and feel free to give it a bit of a wave as you approach the eyes, and maybe again near the edge of the mouth, okay? Now I'll just do that on the other side just to show you again. So staying outside those eyebrows, wave it a little bit towards the eyes if you like, then a little bit towards the mouth, and we're going to stop about there. Now at this point, if it's helpful, you can get your eraser out and you can actually get rid of the original guideline of it on the outside. I don't really need that anymore. So you want to get rid of that, you want to get rid of this at the top too. Just be careful, you don't want to erase anything you want to keep now. Okay, so I'm just getting rid of those marks. And now we can see those lines that we've drawn, that's where the hair goes a little bit over the face. So when we draw the rest of the hair, it's going to look like it's resting over his face. It's going to look really realistic. So I'm going to start about here. I find it more comfortable to start on the corners. So about here, I'm going to kind of draw some waves that just go in and out. Sometimes when you go in a bit, you might want to start again here, and you get that kind of almost like a 3D look that the hair's kind of waving in on itself. And as you approach the bottom, feel free to make it quite messy. Draw some spikes that go up and down and around and flick out, flick in. Overlap the arms if you want, have a bit of freedom. Okay, so I'll just do that on the other side again. So come out a little bit here, wave it back in, come out, and then back in. It doesn't have to be that neat if you don't want to. You can make it as messy as you like, really. He's the Joker. I don't think he's got an awful lot of time to comb his hair, so you can make an absolute mess of that if you want, and it'll still look pretty good. So we've got those spiky tufts at the bottom. All we have to do now is at the top, we'll just kind of curve it over. I'm going to do that trick again where I start again and just kind of bunch it over like that. Gives the impression that the hair's going back behind his head. Just tidy up a little line there. Okay, so the head at this point is pretty much done, so we just need to add the details of his clothing now. There's not an awful lot left to do. So right at the bottom of the head, I'm going to draw a small collar pointing down there, but it finishes before, it goes back up under the head before I get to this, where these guidelines meet here. So again on the other side, just coming down and going back up, there's the collar of his shirt, and then between these there's a small point that goes down to about his chest, and make sure it sits underneath each of those collars there. Make sure it just kind of tucks in underneath. Now we can draw the rest of his waistcoat underneath, so coming away from this we can jut out a little bit and then follow the guideline down to about here, and then come back where those guidelines meet, and then we'll just draw 3 buttons like that. Again, if it's helpful, at this point you can get your eraser and just erase that guideline right down the middle, because we're done with it now. We've got what we needed in place. So just carefully, you can get rid of these lines now if you like. You don't have to do it at this stage. You can do it later when you go over the whole thing with a pen. It might be a bit easier if you've got quite a big eraser. For now, we'll just kind of press on though. So let's make his shirt a bit unneat. We want to kind of maybe have a bit sticking out here. It's not properly tucked into his belt. And come away, not too far. I want to draw the jacket in a minute. Maybe this side is also not tucked it in a bit. Maybe it's a bit creased and wobbly there. Okay, so now we'll draw the blazer over it. So coming down from the side of this collar, We'll curve it in just a little bit, but then flick out as we reach the hip. Just like that. Once we do that, bring it back to marry in with that guideline that we drew right at the start. Those guidelines really have come in handy, haven't they? So I'll just show you that again on the other side. So following the collar down a bit, but then it splits off. And it curves a little bit towards the middle of the body before coming back out a bit. And then this flick that comes out. Once you've drawn that, you can just kind of curve it back in to get underneath the arm. I'm going to draw a small line here across, so where the legs meet. And again, there's a bit more of a guideline I can erase there, so I'll just get rid of that now for clarity's sake. You can also get rid of a few of these. Just trying to show you the guidelines that we don't really need anymore, so get rid of them. And now we're missing a detail at the top of the blazer. It's just a big wedge right at the top. So from about here, come out a bit, and then bring it back down to the inside of the blazer. Kind of try and curve it in there if you can. Might be a bit tricky, but give it a few tries, you'll get it down. So again, just kind of pointing down towards the arm, but then it comes back in and curves down the inside rim of that blazer. Now, all we have to do now is just draw a line across here and a line across here. That's the bottom hem of his trousers. And then a small dip that goes down the shoe, but then back up at the heel. So up at the heel, down at the side of the shoe, and back at the front. So our sketch of the Joker is now done. So get your Sharpie ready. We're going to go over all the lines that we want to keep, and we'll get rid of all those markings, all those guidelines that we drew at the start, and we'll have a really awesome finished drawing of Joker. While you're going over your sketch with your Sharpie, it might be a great time to correct any last mistakes you spot as you go and fix them. And there you go, your very own drawing of Batman's nemesis, the Joker. Before you go, it would be great to see your artwork in my brand new Discord channel. Hit the link in the description below to join the Discord channel and start sharing right away. Until next time.